Hi YouTube. It's about 8 a.m. on January 8th, and in my last video I said I was going to make an eating video. I was going to cook something and eat it. Well, had a little trouble with that. I've been sitting and lying in this recliner for about a week now, and I've barely got up to do anything except pee. And so I think my muscles have weakened, and I haven't gone number 2 either. So about 8 p.m. last night, I started kind of having a stomach ache, and I thought it was because I needed to go number 2. So I went in the bathroom and sat on the toilet and tried for about half an hour, and nothing happened. So then I went back in here and sat down, and then I started actually feeling hungry. So I thought, oh, maybe now I can make my food eating video. Well, so I washed my hands, and, well, I washed my hands after I went in the bathroom, and then I washed my hands again and went in the kitchen, and I got my, I was gonna have a box of Velveeta shells and cheese, and I got it all ready to go, and I started boiling the water, and I started feeling like I was gonna faint. So I sat down on the floor, and I started feeling like I was still gonna faint. So it's weird because I don't really remember this, but so I lied down on the floor. So like about a minute after I did it, I noticed I was lying on the floor. I don't feel like I fell that way. I think I just subconsciously lied down. And so I just laid there for a few minutes, and then I could hear the water starting to boil. And after I felt kind of okay again, I stood up and I started cooking the pasta. And I got it done, and put the cheese on it and put it on my plate. And I went back in my room here, and I had a bottle of water to go with it. So I drank a few sips of water, and then I started eating the shells and cheese. And I decided not to record it because I was just feeling so weak. So I didn't want to try to set up a camera to record it. just wanted to get some food in my belly. And when I started eating the pasta, my mouth started getting a little itchy, and I've noticed that a few times, like eating bread or something. I don't know if I have an allergy to wheat or something, but anyways, I the itching went away after I took a few more sips of water, and then I ate about half of the shells and cheese, and then I started feeling real full. So, well, I don't know, not really full, but just like I just felt like I had to stop eating for some reason. Usually I can eat the whole box, no problem, but I had to stop eating for some reason, and I set the plate down, and then I just sat there and watched some YouTube videos for a while, and slept a little bit, and then I woke up at about midnight, and I was like, oh, think I can eat the rest of this. So I took it in the kitchen and microwaved it, and then I came back in my room and took a few sips of water, and then I started eating the pasta again. I started eating the shells and cheese, and my mouth got really itchy. Like I don't know. Like the first couple of bites I took just made my whole mouth itch really bad, and then so then I took a couple more sips of water to try to get it to go away, and then I waited a minute or two, and then tried eating it again, and it got really itchy again, and so bad that it even started to almost hurt my mouth and my throat. And I looked in the mirror at my mouth, and it didn't seem like it was discolored. My tongue wasn't discolored, and the roof of my mouth wasn't discolored, or it wasn't swollen or anything. And so I waited a few more minutes. I took a few more sips of water, and then I started eating again, and it wasn't it was still kind of itchy, but it wasn't as bad this time. But I still had kind of a soreness in my throat, and then so I ate the rest of the shells and cheese, and but still the soreness in the back of my throat was still there, and it was really weird. That never happened to me before. I think mainly it was because I hadn't eaten in so many days, and the soreness even lasted for about an hour or two later, and but anyway, that experience was really weird, and hopefully that won't happen again. But also, I said in my last video that I set up a Patreon account, and I made a mistake. I haven't been able to put any videos on there yet because when I was setting it up, I accidentally checked the box that says I'm making 18 and over content, like adult content. And then after I did that, it wouldn't let me uncheck it. So So I submitted a ticket to get it changed back to regular content, not 18 and over, and they still wanted to verify my identity, so I had to wait for that to go through. But yeah, it's still not letting me post any of my videos there right now because it hasn't fixed the 18 and up thing. So I gotta wait for that to finish. And then also I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about my situation. Back in 2016, I was living in an apartment above a business downtown, and the rent wasn't bad. It was only like I think it was $550 a month, and it was a nice big apartment, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, with a big living room and big bedrooms and a dining room and a kitchen. I think, yeah, you can see it in some of my older videos where I was doing my food reviews. And it was a pretty nice apartment for as old as the building was. The building could probably use somewhat of a renovation, but other than that, it was nice. Oh, and the heater in there sucked. It got really cold in there because the heater didn't really do a good job of keeping it warm in the wintertime. But anyways, I really liked that apartment, but at the time I was working at a job, and I was only making, it was a call center job, and I was only making about $10.50 an hour, and I had that job for about 5 years, and they never gave me a raise. Even when they kind of gave me a promotion, I was promoted to like a quality coach, and they didn't even give me a raise then. I thought it was real stupid. So I was having trouble. I started having trouble paying some of my other bills that had gone up at the time. And my mom had just moved to town, and she started renting this house when it was just a rental. She started renting it for about I think $700 a month, and she also had to pay utilities. And so I went to her and I said, "Mom, can I move in with you? If you, I'll pay all the utilities if you pay the rent. That would help me out a lot." And so she said, "Okay." At the time, she was working at a grocery store and making about $16 an hour. And so I moved in, and it helped my situation a lot, since I was just paying the utilities, which is about $250 a month at the time. Plus, I was paying my own car insurance. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. I did have a car. I forgot I bought my mom's pickup truck from her for $300, and so I was paying car insurance on that, plus my life insurance and my phone bill. And oh yeah, and then I set up Xfinity internet at the house at the time. And then so things were great for a while, and then I quit that job and I started working at another call center for a while. And that job was crap too, so I quit that one, and then I started working at a manufacturing place, and I was making about I think I was making about $18 an hour starting there, and that was in 2019, in about June of 2019, and and oh and 2020 came around, and in January, just before the whole pandemic thing started happening, my dad passed away, and I went to go see him in the hospital and be with him until he passed. And it was really sad. And then I had to clean out his apartment, and the only thing I the only place I had to put all his things in was our our garage, and 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 uh, and I also had bought a storage shed that looks more like a cabin, and so I put some of his stuff in there and some of his stuff in the garage, and so I had all of his stuff in there. My mom has a bunch of stuff in the garage also, and most of the rooms in the house are filled with her furniture and things. So the bedroom I'm in is filled up with a lot of her things, and then I've got my things in here too. And so now I also had uh, my dad's stuff, and so like there's like barely room, or like everything is filled up with all of our stuff, and I keep saying I'm gonna start going through this stuff, and like sell some of the stuff I can't use or don't want, or give it away to like some thrift stores. But I haven't really had the time to start going through that stuff with work and everything. So also at the beginning, now more in the middle of 2020, our landlord says, "Oh, I want to sell the house, and you and your mom can have first dibs on it if you want it." And at first I thought it was great, but but when uh, but when I looked at how much he wanted for it, I was blown away, because I had been kind of looking at buying the house a year or so before that, and I looked on Zillow, and I had seen that he had bought the house for about $36,000, and I had seen that the property value had gone up a little bit since then when I checked a year or so before. But now on Zillow it said that the house was worth $171,000, and it just I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. I was like, what? And that's how much he was asking. And from looking at the photos of the house before he bought it, and from the condition it was in now, I could tell that he hadn't done more than about $20,000 of work to the house. He basically just made it look cosmetically better a little bit. And we did a home inspection, and they basically said we needed a new roof, and that the plumbing, the plumbing was fine in the house, but the sewer line to the sewer was had some cracks and stuff in it, and had some tree roots growing into it and stuff, and it basically needed to be fixed. And we looked into how much that was going to cost, and it was like $17,000. And so I tried to negotiate with the landlord to see if he would either take that much off of the cost for the roof and the sewer line to be fixed, and he wouldn't budge, and or he wouldn't pay for it to be done and keep the price of the house the same. He wouldn't do that either. And with as much stuff as we've got piled into this house and in the garage and in my shed at the time, there's no way we could have moved out in, it would take like a whole month of moving stuff, and I wouldn't be able to work that whole month. I know it would take, just from how long it took for me to move my stuff from my old apartment to this house. I know it would take about a month without working my job, just straight moving every day for a month, to move all this stuff out to another place or to storage or something. And so I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to move before the landlord wants to sell this house. So we were like, and then I looked also on Zillow and other realty sites to see if there was any less expensive houses on the market, and no, like maybe $10,000 less. I think the cheapest house I found at the time was like $160,000. Everything was about the same price as this house or more. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna have to buy this house, because we didn't want to rent anymore. We felt like if we rented somewhere, the rent could go up, and already, like, most of the places that could hold most of our stuff were about the same prices what we were renting for, or more. So and also my mom had decided to retire, so she ended up just just getting her Social Security, and so I was the main breadwinner, and so I was like, well, let's go ahead and buy it, and so we did a down payment assistance program to help with the down payment. And I had fortunately come into some retirement. I mean, not retirement. I had fortunately come into some inheritance from my father passing away. So we were able to pay the closing costs and stuff to buy the house. And the least expensive monthly mortgage payment we could get was $1,104. And I knew that was just going to be hard to do at the time, and I was so upset because sometimes, I mean, it used to be that if you were renting a house, if you if you decided to buy the same house, the mortgage payment would usually be less than what you were renting for. And this in this situation, it went up to by $300, and at the time, I mean, we could afford it, but just barely. And then so now, like I said in my other video, it went up $355 more in 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 October of last year. So, and it's just become impossible to have any extra money to save up. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and it looks like I've got to get my strength back up again if I want to maybe go back to work. So it might be at least a couple more days. So I'll end the video now for now, but thanks for listening, and talk to you later.